Yes.
Perfect. Hello, HR Pakistan. My name is Ubaid. I'm the founder and CEO of the Recruiters Pakistan. Today, we have a wonderful guest with us. He's an experienced manager and strategic consultant in a broad field of recruitment, advertising, and employer branding. Held various positions at leading companies like EY, as well as advising many employers on consultancy role, on strategy creation, media, technology within the talent acquisition landscape and employer branding. He also successfully developed employer value proposition EVP for EY, IKEA, Nutrico, Accenture, Dutch Iris, and ABN AMRO and CBRE. Please welcome all the way from Netherlands, Mr. Boss. How are you, Boss? How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Very delighted to be
Welcome to
part
our
of.
podcast and accepting our invitation to join as a guest, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, boss, can you tell me your career journey, how you started your career and reached the peak of employer branding?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I studied business economics on the university in the Netherlands, and then I started my
Okay.
first job at an IT company, sitting behind a console, doing some programming and that kind of stuff, and missing the interaction with people, missing the communication and that kind of stuff. So I transferred to the recruitment department, became a recruiter at an IT company.
Okay.
Also doing some employer branding over there as well. And there I fell in love with the niche of employer branding and recruitment advertising, and never left that field of expertise. So, and then I developed from just being a recruiter, being an recruitment advisor. Then I joined a boutique recruitment advertising agency. Learned a lot about what it's like. The internet just came on.
Okay.
We developed the first career websites for bigger companies, employers in the Netherlands and Europe. And well, that's how it all started. Yeah.
Perfect. In your opinion, what differentiate exceptional employer branding strategies from the rest?
I think it's just one word, or maybe two. And that's, first of all, they should be true.
Okay.
So don't tell a story that isn't true. So go look inside your own company and see what it's really like to work there, talk to the people, and just don't make up a better story than the reality is. So I think that is, and a lot of companies, at least here in the Western Europe, do that nowadays because the labor market is very tough. There's a big shortage of all kind of people, technical people, as well as people in healthcare everywhere, actually. So they try to make it look better than it is in reality. And I think that is really, really, really very bad, because that doesn't work. So that's the one word. And the other word is, once you have your employee value proposition and your employer branding strategy in place, please be consistent and don't change it every 2-3 years, hopping to another creative agency, have a new brand, have a new employer branding video, maybe a new tagline, a new story, and a new employer story, and start all over again. That doesn't work, because your company doesn't change that much in 2 or 3 years, and your EVP should reflect really who you are in your DNA of the company and your employer. So be consistent over the years.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
For a new company which doesn't have any employer value proposition or employer branding specialist,
Yeah.
a company 250 people handled by one recruiter.
Yeah.
So how a recruiter can develop the overall employer brand? Can you please elaborate? Low budgets, small and medium sized organization.
Yeah, of course that's hard, but it's not undoable. I think just be honest and work together within your company. I think the employer brand isn't owned and managed only by the recruiter. I think the management of the company is responsible for the employer brand, for the whole brand. So work together with marketing, internal communication, whatever kind of functions there are. Again, talk to your people, write your own story and just start spreading that. And if maybe it's even easier for a small company who doesn't have an employer brand yet to develop one and communicate that to the outside world and to the target audiences on the labor market than it is for a very big company who might have a bad employer image. It's much harder to change that than start all off from scratch and just do your homework and be consistent in what you tell.
Okay. For example, if a company has a high attrition rate
Yeah.
in the market, highest turnover,
Mm-hmm.
how a company develop the employer brand in that particular emergency situation?
Yeah, well, I think if the high turnover is because of very bad management and it's a bad employer, then first change the way you behave, the way you engage with your people, your benefits, the way they work in your organization. Otherwise, it wouldn't change. So
Okay.
yeah, I think that is the answer. I think a good employer branding is also good for your attrition.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. What trends do you expect in the field of employer branding in the next 5 years down the line?
Yeah, I think that it's growing in importance, and I think what we see is that because of all the artificial intelligence kind of things that pop up everywhere, is that there's a lot of focus in the recruitment industry in all kind of tools, selection tools from the side from an employer, but also from the side from the applicants who use all kind of tools to make them look better than they are. So I think it will become more and more important to have a personal contact and an interview and a personal touch in your employer brand so that you really can feel what is real and what it is real like to work for a company. So we can't stop AI, and I think it will do a lot of good. But I think the most important is that the real conversation will still happen between human beings in the end. So
Okay.
I think that's the biggest trend there will be, and there's a lot of. If you go on the internet and you see a lot of congresses and meetings around AI, and that it will replace all recruiters and recruitment, the total talent acquisition will change for 180 degrees. But I'm not sure. I think it's still a people business, and it's important to
Do
know.
AI will replace us?
Sorry?
Do AI will replace us as a
No,
recruiter?
I don't think so. No.
That's a good news.
Yeah, yeah. We need to have a job in a few years, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So with the rise, boss, with the rise in remote and flexi work arrangements nowadays, as an employer brand specialist, how we can accommodate our employer brand strategy?
So I don't understand the first part of your
With a
question.
rise in the remote and flexi work
Yeah, okay,
arrangements,
sorry. Yeah.
especially in tech companies,
Yeah. Yeah.
how we can accommodate our employer brand strategies?
Yeah. Well, that's quite difficult actually. And I think that we see now that a lot of companies are coming back from working remote fully, so that people do have to spend a few days a week or a few days a month in the office, really to connect and engage with their colleagues, to have a drink or to have a meeting or to have a creative session. So to have that connection, because I agree. It's not that easy to work on your employer brand strategy with people who work from everywhere around the globe.
Because
So
in the tech sector, all the software houses, especially in Pakistan,
yeah,
roll out their remote strategy, work from home strategy. And
okay,
hardly any employee is going to the office. Everyone is working from home.
okay,
That's the thing.
okay. Yeah, well, that's obviously during COVID times. That was also the case here in the Netherlands, and I think countries like the UK and France and Germany as well. But a lot of people are returning to the offices right now. But yeah, well, how to engage with people who are not physically in the office is really hard. So you have to really spend some time within. next to the normal meetings, the stand-up meetings and kind of stuff you have normally, you should spend time as a manager with your people just to have a chit chat, just to
Okay.
talk over a cup of coffee that you made maybe at home, but then also talk about your family, how you feel, your concerns and that kind of stuff. And that's really hard, I think, in practice to do because, well, I know when I worked fully remote a few years ago that you have back-to-back meetings on the team calls and the Zoom calls,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
you never talk to one of ask him or hey, how are you doing? Are you still happy? Can I help you with something or something?
Okay.
So I think that's really important. And this again, I think the human interaction that is really important.
Okay. In your opinion, what are the common mistakes committed by companies as far as employer branding is concerned?
Yeah. I think the biggest mistake is that if you look at a lot of campaigns right now, they are all the same because we all read the same surveys and research documents about Gen Z willing and needing a purpose in life and work-life balance and that kind of stuff, which is partly true, of course, but all companies position themselves as an employer where you can have impact on the world, make the world a better place, building the common future, building tomorrow together, whether you are a construction company, whether you are an oil company, whether you are from the government, whether you are a strategy consultant, we are all building tomorrow and everywhere you can have an impact. But that's not true, of course. Partly it should be true, but it's all the same. So the biggest mistake now is that I think the majority of the bigger employers worldwide are focusing on the same strategy, actually, on the same
Okay.
things they say they offer to people, which is partly or not true at all. So be yourself and differentiate yourself by being yourself and find that spot that is really your spot.
Perfect. Well, final question. What is your advice for the aspiring professionals who would like to enter in the field of employer branding, creating EVP for their companies, aspiring HR professionals?
Yeah.
Single piece of advice.
Yeah, well, I think the best advice I was given is that don't think in silos. As is employer branding, it's part of recruitment, it's part of HR, and doing your little thing in your department. Employer branding is from everybody in a company, in an employer. So
Okay.
work together and find the people in the company who think alike and work together and have some synergetic projects together with marketing, with communications, with the board, with the managers, with people from HR, of course, with maybe newly hires or trainees within the company who are eager to share their story, kind of stuff. So my most important advice is work together, find your coalition internally, and that will make the employer brand much stronger and will make it much nicer for yourself to develop yourself and to run your business as an employer brand advisor.
Excellent, Bas. Thank you so much for your time. It's a wonderful discussion, and I enjoyed a lot as a host.
Okay.
And looking forward to invite. We'll be inviting you in the next episode as well. Thank you,
Okay.
viewers. You also. I hope you also like the discussion, and
Sure.
stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you, Bas. Pleasure talking to you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye bye.